I've got a little hint that I've just sort of figured out. There's a CV boot split on the near side. So I pulled the shaft off. I got one of those stretchy boot kits. Simply because I never had one before. I thought, I might do a video on that. It'd be interesting. Best way to fit one of them, I realised, and I didn't even use the core. I'll show you the core now. It's so the way that these kits work. It literally, in the box, it includes one of these. As you can see, it looks like a traffic cone. The concept is you turn the CV boot inside out, grease this up, slide the CV boot over it, maybe warm it up if you have to. And then you put that over the end of the drive shaft, this end, plug that over the CV joint, pop the CV boot off, turn it the right way around. Job's a good one. So what I did, I pulled the drive shaft off. I looked at this for all of about 40 seconds and put it to one side. And because with the Volkswagen style CV joints, I know this is for all the Golfs, Passats, Audis, Skodas, Seats, etc., etc., etc. Literally, you just turn them upside down, giving a swift, sharp blow with the mallet, and it just drops off. So that's what I did. So anyway, so I'm coming to put the CV joint in, and I must put the CV, not the CV joint. I'll get there in the end. It's been a long day. Put the drive shaft back on, and on the gearbox they have a cup which has 6 holes in it, 6 threaded holes, and they are screws, machine screws that go through the inner CV joint, held onto the output flange, the cup on the gearbox. So I've been struggling away, and one of the things I was going to do was pull the arch liner, and then I got annoyed with it. It's obviously been done on a budget, it's not, so I'm used to an arch liner which is a 2-piece item, splits in the middle. Nah, this is the whole thing, and I just can't be bothered with it. So I've got an idea, and so this is what my idea is, to make refitting drive shaft to the gearbox on the Volkswagen Group cars a lot easier, because the problem I've had is get it aligned. I can't get the screw in because I can't get it aligned. It's just a nightmare. It's limited access. It's obviously a small car. So I'm going to show you what my idea is. Very little of this you can see. So this is the drive shaft here. This is the inner CV joint, and then up inside here you can just see there's a end of the machine screw there, one up here. There's actually 6 in total, and these are splined bits. This is the tool that you need to fit them. It's a number 8 size. If that would focus on that, that would be great. There we go. So you can see the end of that. Don't be tempted to use a Torx bit with these. They don't actually fit properly, and if you do use them, you can very easily round off the ends of those machine screws. So this is lying underneath the car. This is the end of one of them machine screws I was talking about. Here's another one. Here's a third, and then there. This is the output flange gearbox here, and this is one of the holes here. So obviously you can obviously rotate this drive shaft to line these up with ease, but it's not an easy proposition. So what my idea is I'm going to pop out one of these machine screws, and then I'm going to use a very motorsporty tool, which anyone who's done any kind of racing will be familiar with, which is a zip tie. I'm going to pop it through the hole in the gearbox flange. I'm going to pop it through one of these holes, and then I'm going to rotate it until it appears to be lined up, and pull it up reasonably tight, put the other screws in, and then cut the zip tie and put the screw in. Okay, that's the zip tie fitted from the underside of the car. Here is the machine screw that I removed. See the end of it there, it's got that spline key in it. There we go. And did it work? Absolutely. So when I got this one tied up at the bottom, I then rotated the drive shaft a couple of times so that I was happy that both the this end and this end were approximately lined up. And then what I did is I went to the top of the shaft and I put the machine screw in. So let me show you. Then I went straight onto the top bolt, which is that. It's just there. You can just see the bottom of it there. Now I'm doing the second one up. You can see I'm doing all this with everything suspension wise still in place. So I'll finish. Okay, they're all now fully tightened up. I managed to do 5 of them without rotating the cup at all, and then to do the 6th I had to rotate the cup slightly. So I did 1, 2, 3 from above, I did another 2 from underneath, and then the one towards the rear of the vehicle in the bottom right hand corner is looking at it now. Bear in mind that the left of your screen is the front of the car. I had to rotate the cut, so it probably came around to about the 7 o'clock position. So been as a YouTube video, and people tend to do lots of handy hints for whatever the job is. So so one of the handy hints I've got is use the proper spline key. One of the handy hints is the zip tie trip to get everything back together again. Another one is if you're doing this on a car which has got ventilated brakes, a screwdriver is very useful. If you pop it in the bits of the disc that actually allow the disc to breathe, you can use that to rotate the disc and then jam it against the caliper like that, or if you go in the other direction on the other side, or most handily in the centre of the caliper like that, will actually stop the thing from rotating as you're actually doing the final tightening sequence on these machine screws in here. So the other thing that I tell you for this job, to get the shaft off, on most Volkswagens, there's various videos. Some of them tell you that you do not have to remove the ball joint or anything, others tell you that you do. I'm going to tell you now, most of the times I've ever done this, you do. When I did the gearbox on the GTI, I didn't have to, because the gearbox was up in the air. It wasn't bolted to the engine. It wasn't bolted to the subframe or the engine mounts. It was jacked up, which gave me enough space to get the shafts out. But if the gearbox is in its normal position, you're going to have to undo either what I did on this car, was I undid this bolt here, lifted the strut out of the housing here, pulled that away. You've got other options. If you go from underneath, you can either do the there's a nut on the top of the wishbone, on the top of the ball joint rather, or there's 3 nuts underneath that hold the ball joint to the wishbone. Now, another handy tip I've got, when you do that, if you spray paint the underside of the wishbone, when you put it all back together, it means you can line it up with where the paint marks are and you get perfect alignment of the bottom ball joint. Or your other option is to do the steering knuckle joint, which is just here. But you do have to disconnect one of those things to get the shaft off, especially on this near side of the car. So that's it for this video. I hope to get back to doing some actual interesting type videos on stuff that's a bit more interesting than this. So next thing I'm hoping to do is rebuild the ignition system on my Mark 1 Golf. I'm going to get that in the garage here once this is gone. I've got a new hall sender for the distributor, I've got a new coil, I've got a new TCI ignition amplifier, I've got a new loom, and I'm going to go through the full rebuild. I'm going to go through testing it, explain how all that works. Hopefully that'll get it up and running, and then I've got a couple of other bits and pieces to do, get it back on the road, and yeah, so we should have a Mark 1 Golf to play with very soon.